Hi friends, happy Monday the 17th of July. It's nice to be with you. I'm Father Bill Hill, a priest at Holy Spirit Catholic Community in Rock Springs, Wyoming. I'm going to share with you a reflection based on the readings. The readings are linked down below. You're going to click the link, you're going to read the readings prayerfully, then you're going to turn off the screen, spend some time with God before you move on to other things. One parish announcement, Vacation Bible School is coming next week, K through 5 in the morning. We're looking for older kids to help volunteer, and we're looking for adults with safe environment that want to be a part of it. Contact Michelle in the parish office if you have questions or would like to be of assistance, all right? Please be praying for our young people and our young families and our young church that they can be on fire with the Lord. All right, we have switched gears a little bit. Well, yes and no. We are no longer in the book of Genesis. We are now in the book of Exodus, and we are still working on Matthew's gospel. The book of Exodus, right? Out of Egypt I have called my son. And so we heard last week of how the entire household of the patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and then those sons of Jacob that become the 12 tribes, how they are now all of them, the entire household, all of their flocks, all of their possessions in Egypt. And then we fast forward a period of time, and then we find out that even though they have been living in Egypt, that then they have grown numerous as a minority living in the midst of the Egyptian people. And so the Egyptian leadership starts to grow afraid of them, and especially what if they were to rise up? And so then they strip them of their rights and they start to persecute them and turn them into slaves. So this text is not just ancient history, right? Like, there are people who find these narratives of freedom to still be powerful these days. You know, Black Catholics in the United States, Christians in the United States, they still find these narratives to be incredibly powerful. Speaking of God who desires freedom for the people. People that have experienced like dependency, behavioral or chemical forms of addiction or compulsion, find in this to be a text of incredible freedom. And then, of course, we are becoming more and more aware of the fact that modern day slavery exists in the form of human trafficking. And so as we continue to be people who seek, freedom and flourishing for the human family, we don't lose sight of just because we ourselves are free, that means that we can ignore this reality, but always mindful of the ways that human evil can exist in the midst of this world. So I invite you to read this text. Maybe you reflect a bit on your own areas of unfreedom, the ways that compulsion exists in your life. Maybe you reflect a bit on the painful reality of this world that continues to be fallen and redeemed by God, and the calls that we have to participate in justice and care for our least brothers and sisters. Okay. Gospel of Matthew. Jesus is still giving instructions to the 12 apostles as he sends them out. At the very end of this passage, we hear that he finishes and he sends them out. Especially I am drawn to this first paragraph. We didn't get this a few weeks ago on Sunday when we had this passage. Jesus came not to bring peace, but the sword, right? To set the world on fire. And this is image. This is interesting. This isn't, fluffy bunny rainbow Jesus. This is butt-kicking Jesus. This is Jesus who recognizes that his teaching and this call for difference in the midst of the Jewish community is going to set painful realities ablaze, and that the world will not be the same. And it really is fascinating that this one, wandering rabbi in an obscure Roman province who was executed by the government as a criminal, has caused so much fire and upheaval in the midst of the world. Especially as you hear about fire, right? I want you to think about passion. And it's not just passion. I mean, there's also negative elements of fire as well that can be, destructive and painful and cause injury. But how is the Lord inviting us to live in passion in our marriage relationships, in our concern for our community, on passion for God, on fire with faith, passion for justice. It's so easy to allow the fire of God to go out in our lives, to tend that fire, to be people who truly want to be intense, and to allow God's intensity into our own hearts. That can be one of the many challenges of this life. Perhaps we continue to pray for that fire of God to burn powerfully and brightly and strongly in the midst of our own lives. All right, friends, read those readings prayerfully, turn off the screen, spend some time with God. Happy Monday to all y'all. Be praying for folks that are having a hard time. God bless y'all.